through the link you used to get here, through your registration link. You can go back there and look for the recording and be able to listen to this at a later date if you want. So with that, welcome everybody to Finding Trout in Minnesota Waters. A friend of ours, both Chrissy Malika is with me today, and Keith Randa, we both met him at a fly fishing camp, which is kind of a fun story. But these are his slides. So he was going to be here today. He's on vacation, and his internet was not working too well Monday night, so he decided to play it safe. And I asked Christy to come in and fill in some his rather large shoes. He's a teacher, a science teacher, a fisherman through and through. You know, he's fished all over the state of Minnesota, all over the country. Every summer he has off, he's fishing. Christy and I met down at so the DNR used to do this really cool program called the Youth Mentor Camp down in Eagle Bluff in Lanesboro, Minnesota. And it was, let's see, it was your husband and son that came the first year, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
And then
they came down in spring of 2018.
And then Christy and her daughter joined us the following year. And ever since then, the family's been pretty hooked. You guys get out fishing a little bit?
Yes. Do you want me to go ahead and introduce Benji? I can tell a little bit about me.
Yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, thank you, Benji. Thank you for having me on today. My name is Christy Malika. I live outside of Northfield, Minnesota, in a small country town. I work in Northfield at the school district. Like Benji said, I did meet, we actually met the first time, Benji, at the state fair. We went through the DNR booth and I did sign up for some notifications. My son started bass fishing and liked fishing. So as a family, we started. Then I got the email about the whitewater camp. Thought it would be great for my son, but then it was for adults. So after that, the boys, like Benji said, went to the camp in the spring, and then my daughter and I the following. And I also met his wife on my way to Vermont to do some fishing. So we've got to know each other over the years. And now all four of us fish all the time. We go spring, winter, fall, all the time. I went 3 times last week down to Southeast Minnesota. So, and my son and I have made trips to the North Shore, doing the steelhead fishing, salmon fishing, brookie fishing up there. So yeah, and I've been to the 2 of the whitewater camps with Benji and the group. So, and I love it. It's great.
That's great. And just so everybody knows, if you are interested, it's the Twin Cities chapter of Trout Unlimited. We do a winter fly fishing camp for adults only down in Whitewater State Park. It's a group site down there. So due to the lodging restrictions and whatnot, we do it adults only. But this year we're hoping Christy's son is getting to the age where he can come down and help guide. So hopefully that's going to work out this year. And it's a lot of fun.
Yes, and that kid can fish anywhere and catch fish. So hopefully he will be there to help us, and especially the new ones. He's got a lot of good skill and he knows where to go for the fish every time.
It's great. Well, that's what we're here to talk about today, is where we're going to find these fish. So being that Keith is a science teacher, he puts this in here. I always think it's a good reminder to see where there's my laser pointer. See where the zones are that we're looking at. The coniferous zone up north and the deciduous zone. Those 2 zones cover 98% of all the trout water in the state. So we don't have a whole lot out here in the prairie grass. We don't have a whole lot up here in the tall grass aspen. Doesn't mean you can't fish there, but there's not a whole lot of trout water up in those areas. And why we fish, like Christy was introducing herself, it's why I do what I do. Try to get people out fishing and introduce them to the outdoors, and same reason Craig and James are doing what they do. We just love to share what we love. So this is Keith's mentor and mentee from 4 years ago, I guess. They caught a nice little brown there. Some people fish for the reason of family and getting outside. Some people fish for food. My family doesn't eat a whole lot of fish, so we're out there for more of the enjoyment of being outside and enjoying nature and spending time with family. So
Correct. I'm going to chime in on that too, Benji. We do definitely, as a family, fish, all four of us. It's relaxing, it's enjoyable, it's a challenge. So yes, I definitely highly recommend something with a family like that.
it's probably pretty cool. At least my daughters are just 12 now, but it's it's pretty cool to start learning stuff from your kids. I know you
Oh,
talk a lot about Grant and how he's excelled in fishing, and now he's teaching you how to do this and how to do that, and it's fun. So
yes, yes. It's and the memories, I love this time. I mean, how many teenage sons go with their mother on a fishing trip, So I'm very blessed.
yeah. So where to fish? We got, like I said, we got those two main biomes in Minnesota, and we got the lakes up north. We got small ponds. Like in the center, we have those all over the state of Minnesota, and we got a lot of streams, especially down the southeast and along the North Shore. So there's lots of fishing. I tell people all the time we are super fortunate to live in Minnesota and have the access that we do. Um, we take it for granted here, and we shouldn't, because there's a lot of states you go, and I don't know. You're heading out to Vermont. I've
Mhm.
never fished Vermont, but like in Georgia, I fished down there, and South Carolina, it's tough finding water where you can go without paying to get on it. So
Yes, and those are some of the things I'm going to have to learn traveling to another state. Even some of the DNR stuff I've listened to through Wisconsin, there's different rules and regulations on every state that you have to learn.
yeah. So dive into fishing a little bit. We're both Christy and I are pretty heavy on the fly fishing part, but I do like to get out and do a little bit of ice fishing. So different types of fishing we got. Um, ice fishing, of course, is a big winter sport here in Minnesota, and we have some great trout lakes that you can go ice fishing in. I got one right up the road, Perch Lake, from my house. I have to live across the border, but we won't talk about that. There's some great ones. I fish Squirrel Lake in north of Stillwater once in a while, but doing something real simple. And this floating rig is for the summer, but it also works in the winter too, because you can set your bait to the depth you're finding fish at. If you have electronics to spot them at, or if you're just start at the bottom and work your way up, find out if you can get something to bite. That's the water column that they're in. You can set that to a consistent depth. Um, Buzz baits are always fun and good to use. This Carolina rig is probably one of my go-to for especially summer shore fishing in some of the potholes in lakes up north. Allen Lake's one of them I like to hike into, and just using this Carolina rig. I typically will use like a trout snacks or power bait type thing on the hook, bundle that up, and just throw that in there. I'm looking for a place where the water drops off as fast as it can. Throw it in there, and I'll just kind of slowly bring it back, let it sit for a few minutes, bring it back a little bit more, and it just kind of, with that weight, it sits at the bottom, and that worm will float a little bit above it. And I've always had pretty good luck with that. And you can use walking sinkers if you're in streams and stuff like that to get your bait out there. Artificial baits for conventional fishing are great too. Um, these little, I'm blanking on the name of them now. Help me out, Christy.
Which ones?
My laser pointer died too. Um, the little MEPS type spinners work really well. That's what I'm thinking of. My girls, around here fishing the streams when they were real little, I used to put a little MEP spinner on their conventional rod, just try to throw it halfway across and just let it swing across the stream and catch on that swing. You get a lot of bites on that. It's a great way to explore streams. You get, fairly fast doing it, cover a lot of water doing that. I think worms are always a great one too, especially in the summer.
And
Um,
Benji, some of these are obviously for the spinning reels and fly fishing, correct? Like, you're talking
yep.
about obviously some of these lures will be for your spinning rods and
Yep. So this is mostly spinning rod, conventional fishing gear. So when we move into the next slide here is on the fly fishing end of it.
there you go.
looking for, James and I were just talking about match the hatch earlier, trying to figure out what's hatching in the water and try to match that with your fly rod. So, Chrissy, what's your opinion on match the hatch?
You
Is it
know,
necessary or?
I I don't think so. Again, you ask my son that does lift up the rocks and looks for the bugs. I just try different things. There's some your go-to pheasant tail or pink squirrel. There's some of them kind of you can use all the time. So I try to, but I don't stress about it, I guess.
Hold up a pheasant tail nymph there. James was commenting that he likes to throw something with it's purple and sparkly. That seems to, I try to match the hatch, try to get, a mayfly, something that's going to float on top when the mayflies hatch, and then they're landing back in the water after mating and they're coming up. You can try to match the hatch all you want, but when that stuff's going on, there's so much competition for, you got one fly and there might be 10,000 other mayflies floating down that stream. So trying to get one that's looks just right and is the right size gets to be really hard. So I'm not that accomplished of an angler where I can pick that right thing. I'm more of the beadhead nymph. Little
Yeah.
purple, little sparkle.
And there's times too where, I'll try something and be totally surprised that it's working and it does, I wouldn't have thought, you just have to try things too. Be willing to tie on a lot.
I think that's a great point, even, for any type of fishing. Something's not working and you're marking fish or you're seeing fish or you're in a spot where you just kind of know that there's fish, which we're going to talk about how to do that in a little bit. Try something different. It might just not, you might not want macaroni and cheese every day. You might want to throw some hot dogs in there one day, and maybe that's the change that they need. So throw a pink squirrel or a woolly bugger or something in there.
Yes, definitely. When we go as a family of four, usually it's Grant and I, my husband and daughter go together, and we have walkies that we walkie back and forth. So then one will be like, oh, fish on, and all of a sudden if somebody's catching fish after fish, I'm like, okay, what do you guys got on down there? We're at the same stream and I may be trying something different. So, and then if I'm getting frustrated, I will probably put on what they have on.
We were just out on vacation. We're coming back. We were camping at a KOA campground in Ohio, and they had a great stock pond. No trout in it, but it was good. Some nice bass in there, some crappies and bluegills. And I was using a hopper dropper setup, which for those of you that don't know, it's using a beadhead nymph. I'll see if I can show that, like this guy here, and using some big honking fly that floats on top. So I'm tying 2 hooks on one line, which we can do fly fishing, and I'm throwing it out there, and I was getting big bass that were coming up and trying to slurp the top one, but I kept getting, I caught my smallest bass ever on the nymph, and it was like an inch and a half long. So I had a whole variety. It was like, I didn't know what they were going to try. I'm like, I'll just throw something out there for a little bit. And I sat out there for an hour, probably caught 2, 3 dozen fish, and it was just a blast. But it was probably half on the top and half on the bottom. So it's a good way to get out there and try a new technique and try a couple different flies or lures um, at the same time. So
And I'm terrible at the hoppers. Like my husband all last week, that's all he did. Ants, grasshoppers, the whole shebang. I can't see them. So if I can't see them, and he's like, well, you just got to look for the fish, because kind of like bass fishing, they come up, when we do frogging. And I'm like, I get that, but I use an indicator and I like to see that. So, I just got to learn a little bit more, keep trying, but yes, the grasshoppers are out heavily right now. So that's when you want to use some of that stuff. Or, even like streamers, I don't care for them because I like to see that notation I got to set, but I'll
yep,
learn eventually. But yes, grasshoppers are huge. We used ants and grasshoppers last week. So
fun. I know my girls tied a couple of them at a tying thing the other day, and I don't have those down here. I should have had them with, but So places we're going to find fish, we'll start off on the stream part here. That's what the two of us are probably most familiar with. So
Mhm.
I like this slide that Keith had in there, talking about a rapid or a riffle, and then there's a run, and there's a pool. All this is great trout habitat. They need the rapids to oxygenate the water. They lay their eggs up in here. That's where their spawning grounds are going to be. The younger fish are going to hide out in places that are not so deep usually. They can get cover from the bigger fish. Um, might be up in here. And then there's the pool. So if you're going to go target uh, big browns one weekend, where are you gonna aim for, Christy?
Oh, the pools.
Yep.
Um, Kind of going off the riffles or rapids again last week when I was out, we are out early and it's hot. um I was surprised I got some up in the riffles. It just looked so shallow, like I didn't really think there'd be anything in there, but they were turning and flashing and I was hitting them there. But yes, I definitely got my larger ones in the pools because they're sitting low. But it also, I think, depends on the temperature and, like you said, the oxygen that they want to get to.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is, see if I can show a picture of this. This is a freshwater shrimp or a scud, and they love to live on grasses and stuff in streams and fast moving water. So even in areas where you can walk through, it's knee deep, and you'll see those grasses and stuff, and you'll see fish up in there. Well, that's what they're after. They're after those little scuds that are hiding out in those weeds. So it's a great place to target sometimes too. So some examples of riffle run in pools. So you can see the riffles up here, a little run, and you kind of see the deeper water that's coming in down here. Same in this picture up here, there's a big pool right in front of us. In this picture, he's pretty shallow. He's casting up into the rapids, probably casting into this run, and there's probably a deep section right in here. He's trying to get his fly to float through where the bigger fish are. In fish behavior, listen to them and try to figure out what they need and what they're looking for. Obviously water, oxygen, shelter, and food. We just talked a little bit about grasses. You can see the grasses in here. And it looks, Christy, if you were to be standing on this shore casting, where would you be aiming for?
I would go up along that back side so it would come down. Yep, up in
Right
there.
in here?
Yep. And again with the hoppers coming on, like you said, doing the two, you have a better chance. I did notice a lot of the grasses in the stream this last week, um, where they were hiding in there too, but then you also get stuck.
Yeah, fly fishing is kind of synonymous with untangling. So lots of weeds and sticks and rocks and whatnot. Seems to be the nemesis every time, but adds to the challenge. So what are they eating and how active are they? You can see this is what I was talking about with the dry fly, the things that are going to float on top of the water. How many? Looks like maybe a blue wing olive hatch there. How many of them there are there? And you trying to figure out your fly to exactly match that, so they don't know what's real and what's fake, and they're hopefully going to come up and eat yours. There's a little bit of art to that for sure. That's why a lot of us like to um, put a dropper under there, or it's kind of like the ultimate challenge when they're eating on the top of the water. It's nothing is more fun than seeing something come up and try to suck your fly in. It's just great, but it is a little bit of a challenge. So
Yes, I agree that it is fun. You got to get them so they're not sinking so much, using the right product. But also, like you said, just kind of matching it so hopefully they take yours and not the real thing.
and how active are they? Sometimes, I mean, they're opportunistic. They're gonna eat when they need to, or if something hits them in the head, they might eat it. But this time of year, when it's this, especially with the water as low as it is right now, and as warm as it is outside, these fish aren't going to be super active right now. This isn't a prime time to get out fishing for trout, a cold water species, and in a lot of streams down the southeast, where the streams are more ground fed, there's probably still some pretty decent fishing, and they're still flowing good. some of the areas that aren't as much ground fed, like the Vermilion River, fish are going to be a little stressed. Water's warming up. We haven't had any surface water run in, so um, they might not be as active. Where are they again? I don't know, this might have been from our winter fishing camp. Keith took this picture, but trout season is open year round. The streams you can fish. I shouldn't say that. They're not year round. They are closed for a brief period. They do open up in January again for catch and release season. So you can get out there in the winter.
The parks you can, right?
There's a couple cities, Preston, Rushford have areas that are open, and some of the, like Whitewater State Park, is the regulations are a little bit different in the state parks than they are general areas. So
I would probably recommend if you're fly fishing, I'm not sure with spinning, but I would try all seasons. I think you're going to see the different varieties and where you're going to find the fish. I know winter fishing down in Whitewater is absolutely beautiful, but I also had weeds taller than me last week. So you have different times of year and different terrain. So, but I think I would recommend anybody trying all the seasons.
yeah, I just started, fly fishing in the winter here a couple years ago, and it's great. You don't have the mosquitoes, you don't have the weeds, you rarely see other people out there.
Mhm.
So it is a lot of fun. I had a couple friends that go out opening day in the catch and release season, beginning of January every year. And I think it was last year, it was like 15 below. It was super cold, and it was like a 20-minute trip. But other years, it's nice and warm and sun's out, and it's great. So
Yep. I've been out there on opening day.
so where will they be? That's always the $1 million question, right? So it looks like, guessing this is coming from this side, right? Flowing down into these rapids. So
Oh yeah, I guess it is going. I was thinking it was the other way. But yeah, you're right.
we looked at this one already,
Yep.
casting up in here probably,
Yep.
floating down that deeper seam along the other bank.
Correct. Or if you're coming upstream, that helps sometimes too.
Yep. So typically when we're fishing, if I'm fly fishing, like in the stream here on the right, I don't want to come from downstream. So I'm walking upstream,
Hmm.
casting up ahead of me. When I'm fishing with a night crawler or conventional gear, because the way the current affects that, it's coming back at me so fast, I will usually, stand off to the side here, and I'm casting across and letting that swing in below me. Same with on this side, I'd cast across and let that swing down that way. So for fly fishing, Chrissy, what would you suggest on either of these?
On the left one up at the top where you can kind of see it's darker.
Right in here?
Yep, right up in there. Polarized sunglasses are really helpful as well because you can kind of see that difference of the color where it's deeper. Depending too, if you're doing a hopper, there's that grass line there. That would be awesome coverage for them too. You can try either seam to come down.
And this side too, I like the seams. You just mentioned that.
Yep.
Trout, they're not going to spend a ton of energy to get their food if they don't have to. So sitting in this slower slack water, kind of on the right hand side, where they're out of the main current, is easier for them to hold there. There's rocks in the bottom they can hide behind, and they see something come by, they can swim out into that fast current, grab it, and swim back. And that's so putting your fly or your lure, whatever you're fishing with, right along that seam where it goes from shallower, calmer water to the deeper, fast-moving water is kind of the key in a lot of streams. For what does Von Schnuck always say? Where there's with foam, there's
Oh,
foam before you go.
yep,
Follow the
follow the
foam.
line.
Follow
Yep.
the foam line. So
Yep. Also, too, when you got some of these smaller streams, and maybe we'll talk about that too a little bit more, crossing, so you can get a better cast in there. I tend to look to My husband will probably cast from either side, but I tend to look for my best chance where I feel more comfortable. If I need to cross, I'll maybe sometimes do that if I see something coming up ahead.
Yeah, so thinking of where you're going to cast and get to that stream. These trout have very good eyesight. They
Mhm.
have a lateral line down their sides, so you pick up the vibration if you're walking a ton in the water. So planning ahead and figuring out, okay, I want to attack this from over here and crossing in a decent spot downstream where you can kind of come up to it, make your cast, catch some fish. Um, Hopefully you catch a bunch of fish there, and then you can move upstream and move on to a different pool. So I
Yep.
think we got one more. Where do I cast? Where do I cast from?
Definitely on the left side, you can see the darker again, right on that edge. Yep, right in there. You got some foam going in there. That's always a good indicator. I that's where you want to be. I do use indicators. I
Which
try
is
not to use the
it's a
white one.
fancy name for a bobber, right?
Oh, yes, exactly.
So
But a lot of times I've heard that the white ones obviously would blend in because of the foam, but again, I can't see them.
you like fluorescent orange and pink?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And a bobber's a bobber, right? But indicators, there's 50 different kinds you can buy. There's foam ones, there's hair ones, there's fur ones.
I think I have
Um,
pretty much every one.
yep. So they'll
And it's
come
a
in all kinds of
preference.
varieties. If you get into fly fishing, you can buy all kinds of stuff.
Yep,
But
exactly. It's
the
just kind
one
of
thing,
what you feel comfortable with, what works for
yep,
you.
one thing I love about fly fishing and trout fishing with either conventional gear or fly gear is that it's a pretty low cost of entry point, especially in the conventional stuff. You probably have a lightweight fishing rod already, or you can get one fairly cheap and just get a couple like little Mepps spinners we showed you earlier, and you're out there, put a couple power bait bits on the end of it, and you just go out there and you're casting. If I'm conventional fishing this, I would probably start a little farther upstream and cast down into this area and let that swing out, and cast in here and let it swing out. And I'm casting where because it's a sinking lure, I can't just let it float down like I would for fly fishing. I got to cast in and let it swing back out. And that swinging motion is kind of gets the propellers going, the sparkly going, and attracts the fish. So same, you can talk about the fly fishing. Where would you cast for this one, Christy? And this
Looks like it's coming
gorgeous
down
little
at
stream.
us. So yeah, up
Yep.
on top again, follow those seam lines. Obviously, they're going to be, not that shallow stuff, the dark, deeper stuff. So yep,
You,
right in there.
you can see this must be a big rock right in there where
Mhm.
be a great place for fish to hide.
Correct.
So,
They'll come out and snag it.
yep. So you're probably trying to cast up above that and then float down around
Yep.
to make it look like a natural presentation.
Yep. And depending too, you want to get that fly down there. So having a little weight might help as well. That was something I learned at the whitewater camp that a fellow camper introduced me to. So I learned a lot about that, but just getting that down in that strike zone.
Especially in the winter when the fish aren't necessarily in the shallow area, they're deeper down in these pools, kind of schooled up. And if you're looking at this rock and you know that it's a 5 feet deep right on the other side of that, you're going to have to put some weight on there so that as soon as it gets over that rock, you're going to get your lure down to the bottom of that hole. So it's a
Yes.
little game you got to play, but it is worth it. You get some fish that way. So
Well, changing your indicator length, depth, adding the weight. For instance, I was in a pool last week. I could see them. They were huge. I probably had 3 feet aligned, then my indicator, but quite a few weights on the end, and I was getting them like crazy. There was just enough current to pull it through, and it was crazy. But you just have to basically hit them on the head sometimes.
So a little bit of safety when you're out there. We've kind of covered the stream part of it. We're gonna move into some of the lake stuff here in just a second, and this kind of pertains to everything. But the poisonous plants, plant safety, poison ivy, poison oak, sumac. Make sure you're kind of aware of what you are. Typically when I'm wading or doing something, I'm either wearing waders. This time of the year, I'll wear like a lightweight nylon pant and just my wading boots. I don't care if my feet get wet because it's hot out. So, but something to keep the plants off of you.
Yes,
And this
I
one,
went to Itchweed twice last week, definitely. One thing my husband and I suggested to each other, we haven't done it yet, is put pictures maybe on your phone because there's no reception. If you're not sure, at least if you had a picture of it, you could say, oh yeah, that's it, you know, to avoid. But
yeah,
and having, I think they talked about washing it in the stream. You'd have to look some of it up or putting something on it right away too. There's multiple things, but just to maybe have something on hand too might not be a bad idea.
yeah, especially in the summer. Wild parsnip, this one here is a particularly nasty one. I've seen people get into that, and that's, you know, if you get it on your skin, that oil on your skin, you want to get it off as fast as you can. As soon as it contacts with the sun interacts with the oil from that plant and causes the burns. So, and the last one, we've had a couple of our TU board members this year that have gotten Lyme's disease from one of these lovely little critters. Always be vigilant for ticks. I don't see too many snakes down, but there are down the Whitewater Valley. There's a lot of snakes down there, but yeah, keep vigilant, especially on the ticks. Wearing long pants, using stuff that's permethrin coated if you're not going in the water with it. But I like to wear long pants and wading boots and just keep an eye on anything crawling up and do the best you can. It's one advantage of fishing in the winter, right?
Yes, definitely. Like I said, last week I was in weeds taller than me, and I did not enjoy that because that was one of my concerns. But yes, you know, make sure the bug spray, there's different essential oils that deter them as well. I don't think anything would have touched me as much stuff as I had on, but I guess I'd rather have that.
So where do we go? This is where do we go next time? Because this was from camp. You know, where do we go from camp to find trout water? And this is a book that DNR puts out, Southern and Central Minnesota. This is also an online resource, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. But if you find one of these books or see one at the state fair this year, grab it. I like to have the paper copy. I got one for Wisconsin sitting right here on top of my bookshelf. My Minnesota one is probably in my fishing box. I usually keep one in my fishing box or in my car. It's a great resource. Has all the easement, designated trout water by county out there, which it's a great resource.
Yes, we actually have one in both of our vehicles as well. I think one next to our couch upstairs. So when we're planning our trip, we kind of know where we're going. We're definitely rule followers, so we like to make sure where we are going are legit spots. So definitely a great resource.
I stopped sharing my screen there on that trout fishing page because I'm going to reshare our new trout fishing page on our DNR website. So if you look up, go to the DNR website, just look bonkers. All right, are you seeing that now?
Yes, I see it.
There, so there we go. So I clicked on the southwestern one. I can go right to the map, lakes, streams that are there. Like we were talking about earlier, there's not a whole lot in southwestern Minnesota, right? That's the prairie land. But I did notice this comes all the way over to Rice Creek, which is not too far from your house. This is actually a stream I worked on when I lived in Northfield. So it's
Yes.
become a designated trout stream now. So You
Yep,
find
been
that
there.
you go to the map, find out where the map is, which is a pretty cool resource. I wanted to touch a little bit on the lake fishing part. So if I click on any of these, I can click the map. It'll give me an overall map of Minnesota. I can zoom in here a little bit. And all these teardrops are designated trout lakes in the state of Minnesota. So you can see some of the streams that are highlighted over here along the North Shore. But we have a ton of Great Lakes that are out here ready to be fished. You can click on them. I can't believe I did this twice. I got Allen Lake twice. This is one of my favorite places. It's just north of Emily. I can click on that lake and blow up an image of that. I can find out, what is stocked in there. They got brook trout, rainbow. It is a AMA, so it's a public access area, and it's walk-in only, which, in my opinion, weeds out a fair amount of fishermen having a walk-in only place. So I was actually talking to a guy at the campsite that's fished this lake this last weekend, and he goes, "Yeah, you go to that canoe landing. It's not the cool thing about these lakes maps are the contour lines. You walk into that canoe landing, you can see it's not super steep there. The closer those lines are together, the steeper the drop off in the water is. So you get a maximum depth. See, you might find it out here, probably 40. It says 46 feet. It's probably out in here someplace. But he said you can follow that trail around to the left of the canoe landing, and there's some steeper stuff. And I said, well, what do you use? Do you Carolina rig? Do you use bobbers? Well, all Carolina rig. So you showed that a little bit earlier. It's just it's like a bullet weight, and then have 12 to 16-inch leader off of that. A lightweight leader. Trout have very good vision, so I use probably a 4-pound test is kind of what I normally go with, and just up there. I like to use just like a number 10 hook and put trout nuggets on it, and I'll just let it sit out there. Which every once in a while, I'll just jig it back a little bit so it become a little shallower, then recast it out there. And he said that was his go-to spot on that lake. But there's a bunch of trails that go all the way around. So next time I go up there, I kind of want to try this section up on the north side of that lake too. But let's see if I can close. Oh. But definitely check that out. The Lake Finder map. I also wanted to pull up one more resource we do have. If you go to the DNR site and just go Minnesota DNR mobile, check that out. You'll come to the mobile web pages. So I showed you the Trout Finder map that has all the designated trout lakes and streams in it. There also is a Lake Finder version of that you can have on your phone. They will also have the trout ones, but they're not as easily identifiable. But it is great if you're bass fishing or doing any of that other types of fishing. It's a great resource to use, and you can have it right on your phone, which is pretty cool. So the Recreational Compass is also a mobile app where we can go and click on there.
One thing I'll just chime in on that, Benji. When you're down in southeast Minnesota, a lot of times you won't have reception. So we will tend to take pictures of the maps or whatever on our phones. So then that way we know where the right access points are to get on the streams.
That's a good point too. So some of these mobile ones will work with the GPS device in your phone, but that's one of the reasons I like the paper ones. So, but here's Squirrel Lake in Washington County. They do stock that with brown trout. It's a fun lake. I like to ice fish up there. It's good. It's a good place to go. There's a lot of them across Minnesota. I've fished very few of them. I'm finding out as the more I look into these maps. So.
Yes, we definitely have the lakes covered here.
So let's. I'm gonna stop sharing and see. I can't see any Q&A or questions or anything when I'm sharing. So I'll stop sharing there, and we can go into some Q&A. Well, James, do you want to read some to us, or do you want us to kind of look through some of these?
Sure. So we had, just to reiterate, from the beginning, this is being recorded. We will be posting this, where you registered for the event. And, the intention is that we're going to have a landing page where all of the videos are going to be posted, but that's still in construction. But you can still get to those, where you registered, and that's totally available. One of the first questions is from Rain, and it says, can we add a sinking nymph below the dry fly? And then, which y'all already touched on with the hopper and the dropper concept. How many total can we have on a line? What's the distance between them? And then they go on to say, is it similar to the regular open water fishing with 3 hooks within 9 inches? So yeah, what are the regulations between, like, how many flies can you tie on one line? Could you have one hopper and 10 droppers, or just one? And then are there regulations on the distance between them?
So in fly fishing, you can have a hopper and a dropper as 2 flies, 2 hooks. So, and there's no regulation on the distance between them. So, because you want your top fly to be actually, floating on top of the water, and you want your bottom nymph, your weighted nymphs, to be at or near the bottom is typically what you're fishing for there. So there's no distance regulation on that. The open water stuff, when you're fishing out in the stream, there is regulations on that. Like you said, James, I believe you can use 2 hooks. They can either be single hooks or a treble hook, but you can only have one bait. So you can't run like a shad rap, Rapala, and then another one below it. That doesn't work. You can run one lure, maybe a spinner, and have what they call like a crawler harness, where you have 2 individual hooks behind that. You can have up to 2 hooks on there, and that one is the length between those 2 hooks, I believe, has to be less than 9 inches on there. So,
Yep. All right. Excellent. Cole has a question about riparian rights and legal use of the streams. So they've used maps to find stream access, but there's a little bit of fuzziness on, where does public end and private begin. So the question is, if I can legally access a stream, am I able to continuously wade the remainder legally? I believe the website mentions, quote, navigable waterways, unquote. But could you touch on where that designation is? And different states do this differently. In Wisconsin, if you're in the water, it's basically public land with only a handful of exceptions. So it's usually a safe thing that, as long as your feet are wet, you're public. Is that the case here in Minnesota, or are there differences?
that is the case in Minnesota. I would strongly encourage everybody, if you are out there, to go to the easements that we have. The DNR has a ton of trout easements. Bob Travis wrote a book on it that's that thick, just different trout streams in southeast Minnesota, and those are all legal public accesses that you can get to the stream. And you're correct, if you're in the stream, you're fine. When you start getting out of the stream, if you have to, and I believe there is a clause in there, if the stream's clogged and I have to go, around a beaver dam, it's not, it's a little forgiveness there, but I strongly encourage people to stay within the easements is the best answer for that. So if you can't, you can get to public access water off of a roadway or a bridge or something like that. As long as you stay in it, technically you're okay, but it's easier just to stay in the easements. That's where the stream improvements have been, and the fishing is better anyway. So.
And y'all correct me. I mean, the easements that I've seen, they're usually, I mean, all the ones I've seen are really well marked, right?
Yep.
It's in the best interest of everybody that those are clearly delineated. So that you get there, and it's like I said, all the ones I haven't seen all of them in the state by any stretch, but the ones that I've seen, it's been very clear where the boundaries are, and so it's been really easy to adhere to those easements.
Yep, and our fisheries staff down the southeast, Von Snook down at the hatchery in Lanesboro, spends a great deal of his time going out and making sure the signs are posted.
Mhm.
If there's a fence there, we have little ladders that go up over the fence where you can cross. If you do cross any gates, make sure that you leave the gate like you found it, either closed or open, so that whoever's landowner has cattle in there or horses or whatever, they stay where they're supposed to stay. In our easements, we got 66 feet from the center of the stream. So you can walk along the stream. They are for fishing only. So don't bring your bird dog out there and think you're going to do a little grouse hunting while you're fishing. That is not a legal activity on fishing easements. But 66 feet from the center of the stream to either side is the easement regulations. So
Nice.
I would,
Christy, we got a question for you here. We got a fly angler in Will, and Will says that their go-to stream is the Rush River, which I have fished. It's a great river. Where is a good place I should try next week for trout within 2 hours of Minneapolis? And do you have any smallmouth fly fishing this time of year when trout slow down? And where?
okay, well, smallmouth, no. I've only caught largemouth on the fly. That was up north, which is kind of fun. For streams, I would say, first of all, check your temperatures. That's very important this time of the year. Benji, maybe you know, and I know I have it on my phone, but we check the temperature just because if it's too hot, it stresses them too much, the water temperature. We typically like to go early morning in the summer, and then we're done by noon. But definitely, I would suggest just handling the fish, get them off and get them back in as soon as possible, especially when it's super hot. As for streams, I would go to that DNR site and definitely look into, it's so hard this time of the year. Like, I don't care for the tall grass this time of the year, but there's a lot of pasture down there, which then you got cow pies and gnats. But there's a lot of options down there where you can try right out of Preston or Lanesboro. You just have to start picking, it's hard to tell which ones are running good this time of the year. And the water, if it's low, one of my favorite spots might be super low, so I'd have to go somewhere else. We've done the Root River, Willows by Preston, some of those. So I would definitely use that DNR tool and just start scoping them out. There's so many options down there. There's some that we haven't even been to yet, but we go pretty regular. We have our favorites, but last week we tried 3 different new streams. So it's just depending, do you like tall grass? Do you like pasture? Is it too high, too low? Temperatures, because one stream might be cooler than another. I've heard a lot of that. So it's just trial and error.
I would say too that we're real fortunate in the Minneapolis St. Paul area to have the Vermilion River, which is what, half hour, 45 minutes south of St. Paul.
Yep.
Flows across Highway 52 towards Hastings. There's some great easements on there by Farmington. That'd be a good place to try. And a little known spot is Eagle Creek over in Savage. It's right in the city of Savage. There's some nice trout. There's a lot of trout work right there too. So
Nice. Yeah, and we're really fortunate because we're kind of living in the golden era of trout right now in Minnesota. The nice thing is that almost any healthy river or creek system is going to have some fish in it, and then it's just about finding what's going to work for them, finding what they're going to be going after. So, and the tools, in addition to being in the golden age of trout, we're also in the golden age of information. So, it's we're getting to the point where there are no more secret spots because it's all being posted online by somebody. So do some digging, find out some information, and honestly, pretty much any blue line on the map there's going to be something in there, and then it's just a matter of figuring out when and where and what they're going after. But that does lead into something that came up in the chat. One thing about the maps, we had somebody that said that they don't like they don't show the cities near the streams or lakes, and that's totally a valid point and something that is missing. But none of the when it comes down to it, you're going to have to combine multiple information sources to tailor the stuff that's out there for your needs. The maps that we've got are a great place to start, but you might be needing to augment it with information from other places, whatever mapping software you use that works for you, whatever, there's plenty of resources out there that show private and public lands. And so, you might have to do a little bit of work to combine information from one source to another source that gives you everything that you need.
Yep, and if that becomes an issue and that's one of the things that I like, especially if I'm out of state, is using other stuff you have to pay for typically, or other mapping software, Google Maps or something like that. If I kind of know where I'm going, that I can get directions to it, or a software like Trout Routes or something that highlights a stream and an access point that I can get directions specifically to that. That part is kind of nice, but again, it's an extra expense. So.
Yeah.
I would also suggest the fly shops down there have been very helpful. They do programs too, or guides, and that might be an option too. There's probably some DNR stuff too, or there has been in the past too. Different things to utilize there too.
The local fly shops are always kind of a gold mine of information. So I did want to mention, Will did ask about smallmouth fishing, and that's a great thing to do in the summer when the trout are slowing down a little bit. And both the St. Croix River and the Mississippi upstream of Monticello are great places to try out smallmouth fishing. If you got a canoe or a float tube even or something, that's a lot of fun. So.
And just to augment what, contacting those local fly shops or fishing shops, it's in their interest that you're having success. So they want you catching fish. A lot of the local shops that I walk into, they have a bulletin board that says what the fish are hitting on, where people are having success, because they want you out there catching fish and using gear so that you can come back to them and buy more gear. Let me see. There's a question. What are your suggestions for fishing stocked ponds, and specifically deep water like old quarries or clay pits? And what time of day do you fish them? Do you use hook and bobber or some other tackle?
I think the time of day it's typically with any wild animal. Morning or evening are kind of the best times from hunting to fishing. It seems to be the best. Stock ponds, I've had mixed luck with. Actually, ran into a guy out in Colorado, had a stock pond, and we were threw flies in there for a half an hour and didn't catch anything. He said, "Well, you got to try one of my flies," and they were tied like little food pellets, so they called them pellet flies. You catch fish all day long with those. So sometimes stock ponds are great, and sometimes they're not. Kind of depends on what they're getting fed, I think. So. Some of the old quarries, they can get really deep. I mean, you could be fishing 70, 80 feet of water, and it comes to, you got to figure out where the fish are in the water column. Sometimes, the water, and that water is going to kind of turn over a little bit, like in most lakes. And if they want a little bit warmer water or cooler water or more oxygenated water, they're going to be up or down in that column. So it's a little bit trying to figure out where they are. I was fishing last year in the lake up off of 694 there, and I automatically in the winter go to the bottom, jigging for some panfish or bass down there, and I actually looked in the hole and saw a bluegill lie. Well, brought everything up, and they were all 6 inches under the ice. So it all depends on the time of the year and where those fish are, and it's a little bit of a trick to find them. Having electronics can kind of narrow that down a little bit, but it's obviously not a necessity. You can go to there and jig at different depths for 5 minutes and see if you can find something. So
it's why they call it fishing and not catching. You got to do a little bit of work.
You got it.
Last little thing, there was a tip from Michelle. They do a lot of Lindy rig for trout up in Crow Wing. It's a great tip. So,
yep.
Finding those things that work really well. And then Michelle followed up with, they usually do it with the putty. So there's a putty that you can use out there that will work as a really good bait. And don't overlook stuff that you might already have on hand. I grew up down south, and trout fishing for stock rainbows. Our secret weapon was always a can of corn.
Oh yeah.
They would hit that stuff left, right, and center, and we'd see out of state folks roll up with really expensive rigs and a whole lot of money invested in it. We're just out there killing them with corn. So you know you can get this stuff with worms you dig up in the backyard or a can of corn you got in the pantry. And that's the level of investment you can start at, and then you can get crazy from there.
Oh,
I always show this is a little Tenkara rod I think I got off of Amazon for like $8, but it extends out to about 6 feet. But this and 5 feet of monofilament line and a couple pieces of corn, or my kids caught a lot of bluegills and panfish on that right off the dock down here. So in our local city park. So it's a great tip. Can of corn is golden some days.
when I was steelhead fishing in the North Shore, they do a lot of plastic beads from Michael's, Hobby Lobby that look like the egg patterns and yarn,
Oh yeah.
And foam from the craft store. So I guess you can make anything.
We're coming up on our time, but there's one last question here from Will. Is the DNR still stocking some trout ponds near Hendrickson, or is that info on the DNR website?
I would look at the specific pond you're looking at, and that info will be available on the DNR website. I know like the Chaska pond in Chaska, their courthouse pond, was stocked this last year. I'm not for sure exactly which ones are and which ones aren't, but out of Hendrickson, you call the local fisheries office up there too, and they'd be able to tell you when the last stocking was, and if they have one planned coming up too. That'd be their best bet.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's those are the questions that we've got. Again, this will be posted.
Awesome.
It'll be up pretty shortly on the page where you registered to attend this webinar. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Benji and Christy, for sharing your knowledge with us. It's awesome to hear about, and it definitely gave me some tips to think about moving forward.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We'll go back into the practice room, Christy, and
we're gonna